Hello everyone. Welcome to the Ingram Red Ansible Automation and Live Demo webinar. We'll just give it a couple of minutes to make sure few more people join, and then we'll start. So just give it a couple of minutes, please. And please let us know if I'm audible.
Yeah, a little bit echo there.
Okay, thank you. That's okay.
Okay, Ajay.
Yeah, Chandra. Okay,
So,
just waiting for a couple of minutes more, Chandra, for some more people to join.
okay, sure.
Yeah. Okay, I think we have about just maybe another one more person to join, and then we'll start off. I'll just give it another minute. Okay, we'll start now. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Ingram Red Hat Ansible webinar and live demo. My name is Ajay. I'm the product manager for Ingram Micro at Australia. My colleague Chandra, who's the principal solutions architect for Ingram based in Singapore, and will be presenting this webinar. He heads up what we call the Center of Excellence in Singapore, which has got a lot of demo environments of all the vendors which Ingram are dealing with in the enterprise space. So I had handed over now to Chandra to take you through the Ansible use cases and the demo. Over to you, Chandra.
Okay, thank you, Ajay. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Ingram Micro Ansible use case presentation. And we thank you for joining us today, choosing and spending your time with us in this virtual way. Let me switch to my second slide. So this is the agenda for the day. I will give an automation overview, quick one, and explain what is Ansible and a couple of use cases as well. We do have the success stories, so I'm going to share that with you guys in detail. And finally, I will do a quick comparison with the competitors like Chef and Puppet. And finally, I will take the Q&A. You can post your questions on the chat box as well. So nowadays, everyone is talking about automation to streamline process, to reduce repetitive and manual work, improve approval process, so on and so forth, to help better manage their system effectively, to help better manage system updates or know when the systems are misconfigured. Single system to manage their hybrid and cloud environment. So nowadays, robots in an automotive manufacturing plant, robots replacing humans in doing precise and repetitive works. The automation involved in this allows the manufacturer to increase volume of production to meet the demands, and this frees up human to do the final assembly. Several use cases, for example, the dog-like robot inspecting dangerous, inaccessible, and remote environment automate data collection on your site. Here in Singapore, we do see this kind of robot. Actually, I assume Australia as well. So this one carry payloads on the unstructured and unknown data. So the world is automating. So that's the reason why we are here as first to listen to more success stories, right? So I'm going to start with this slide. This slide is from Red Hat. What Red Hat did, they did a lots of survey. They talked to many enterprise organization and compile all the information from different decision makers. So if you look at the four main key decision makers, their point of view, let's walk through one by one. The first one, what you see on the screen is the IT architect. Most of the organization may or may not have one architect. He's the one actually uh, trying to find out latest and greatest tools or software available on the market, which is something which will be helpful for each and every organization. So normally the IT architect, he do the search for the software, try to identify, he download it, and he do all the testing. So once he identify something that's been useful for the organization, something that makes sense, usually he will be introducing or telling the features to the more audience or the decision makers within the organization itself. When you look at the point of view from CIO, he or she always will want to make sure reduce the cost. The reason why each and every organization may using a different type of infra within their data center organization, so on and so forth. So they may be spending a lot of money, to manage all their servers, which could be include Windows or Linux, different networking device, storage devices, so on and so forth. So if they find out any tool that can manage everything from a central location, they prefer to go for that one. When you look at the system admin, they are the one actually doing all the work for the organization. End of the day, they are the one actually allowed to touch the mission critical production servers within the data center. So since it's a production servers, no one allowed to touch that one during the business hours. Usually, each and every organization may have a change management. They are the one actually making the decision. Each and the production server should be allowed to touch only at either middle of the night based on their time frame or during the weekends. Otherwise, it will affect, if anything goes wrong, it will affect your production server, right? So during the middle of the night, the efficiency may not taken place. The reason why, as a human being, they may be sleepy and there is always chance for mistake. So if they found any tools that can help their job easily, they definitely welcome that particular product, right? And finally, the engineering director, he's the responsible person. He want to make sure whatever the changes has been done on time and make sure it's compliance, because end of the day, he's the one actually reporting to the senior management, and he is fully responsible for entire infrastructure for the organization. So in this place, so in order to fulfill all this requirement, Ansible is one of the best platform what we can recommend, and you may be already aware that it's an open source project funded by Red Hat. Ansible have two components, which is the main component. One is the Ansible engine, and another one is the Ansible tower. Ansible engine is anyone from IT, they can download it as long as they know how to execute the Linux command. So they can download it, play around with it, they can get familiar with it, so on and so forth. It's of something free. But we over here, we are talking about the mission critical production server. So in this scenario, you need to have an enterprise framework. So what Red Hat did, they built up a tool and they named it Ansible Tower, which is the nice GUI screen tool, which you simply log into the particular tool, and you will be seeing nice dashboard screen, the screenshot what you see on there, and you should be manage all your infra. Doesn't matter from which location around the globe. You, as long as it's get connected, you should be able to manage it, right? Why Ansible? It's simple, powerful, and agentless. Over here, simple meant by anyone came from an IT background. For them, it should be simple. The reason why, uh, let me walk through with you an example. Assuming you have a data center and there may be many different flavor of servers, networking devices, storage, so on and so forth. And I'm choosing one specific example. For example, your Windows servers. Assuming you have 100 Windows servers, and Microsoft always release latest and greatest patches, on timely manner, either quarterly or depends upon whenever there is a new patches, they release it. And to meet the compliance, you must update the latest and greatest security patches. It's a kind of repetitive task actually each and every organization have to do. So if you are giving a instruction to that remote servers, for example, hey, my remote servers, go and do the latest and greatest patch update from Microsoft. So that's an instruction. So this instruction we can translate into a coding language. It's called YAML, Y-A-M-L language, which is getting more and more popular nowadays, which is human readable automation. So anyone from an IT, when they read those instructions, they will know what exactly happening within that YAML is instruction. So when the this particular file, it's called playbook, right? So by you writing the playbook, it doesn't require any special coding language, so coding skills comparing with the famous Java and Python, so on and so forth. If from the audience, if someone familiar with the Java or Python, so there is a standard structure, like there will be always do while loop, if conditions, so on and so forth. So there is nothing like that in this YAML format. So it doesn't require any special coding language, and it's a plain English. So all the tasks will be executed in order, and it's usable by every team. So what's mean by every team? Each and every organization have different teams, like Windows team, Linux team, networking team, storage team, whatever you name it, right? So whenever you assign or add one of the user within this tool, we can segregate the particular template, particular project from each other. For example, one user, he has been added to the Windows team. He will see only the Windows project or Windows template that assigned to him. He won't see anything related networking or storage devices, so on and so forth. So it will be segregated each other, and it's so this way it's usable by every team, and they should be seeing what they has been assigned to, and this way you can get productive quickly. It's very powerful. It can do the application deployment, configuration management, workflow orchestration, so on and so forth, right? One of the main advantage here is the agentless. What's that mean? Let me explain a little bit in technical terms. For example, this Ansible tower how to install on a Linux server, prefer to have in the Red Hat operating system within itself. So since it's a Linux machine, assuming you are trying to manage your remote Linux machines. So in order to connect your remote Linux machine, the standard protocol what we use is called SSH, which is port 22 by default. We can change this according to organization policy. So when we try to connect by using SSH any remote devices, so usually once we get connected, we can push the instruction. Within the SSH itself, everyone aware that even the technical people, we can create the passwordless authentication policy. What's that mean? Simply copy the private and public key each other, and this way we should be able to create the passwordless authentication. So once established that connection, simply press the button and it will go and execute your instruction to your remote devices. The scenario for Windows machine, as long as turn on the WinRM, you should be able to push the code to Windows machine. And the scenario for networking device, each and every networking device have its own operating system. For example, Cisco using iOS, everyone know that one. So to connect that operating system, you should easily SSH and push the instruction any point of time, any scenario like VMware or any specific scenario, as long as the REST API, which is the very standard protocol, once it's enabled, you are good to go and good to connect, and you should be able to manage and push the code there, right? So this way, no agent to exploit or update, and you can start your work immediately and in a efficient way. It's getting more and more popular. So 4 million plus system under Red Hat Ansible Tower Management, 2000 plus Red Hat Ansible automation customers, that including Ingram Micro customer as well, 4,000 plus integration for 1,400 network integration. What's that mean? Nowadays, most of the vendors actually trying to share their certified module with Red Hat, which is readily available online. You can just Google it and find it. 45,000 GitHub stars. What's that mean? Over here, referring to those coding people, or in another term, it's called the software engineers. Usually, whenever there is a product available, they try to get that particular module from that each and every vendor, and they write their own code and make sure it has been shared within the GitHub itself. So any point of time, if you want to automate any one of your devices, try to identify that particular module name, do search on GitHub and try to get that one. You can download it, modify it, as long as you leave that the author name, leave it there as it's a standard policy. So by saying that one, with Ingram Micro, we do have a team of coding people, software engineers. They are specialized writing this playbook for different customer requirement, right? So any point of time, if you really required any specialized customized playbook, let us know. We are ready to help you. 2 million plus downloads happening per month, so you may be one of them as well. So automate the deployment and management of automation for your entire IT footprint. So now all of you are aware that one Ingram Micro is the global distributor for most of the product available on the market right now. That's including firewall, load balancer, application, container, cloud, servers, so on and so forth, whatever you name it. So we are so privileged to have this one, we are so fortunate that we do have those devices in our lab, and we have many integration make it possible, and it's readily available in our lab. So later I will show you a couple of them. So just wait for that one. This is the architecture look like for the Ansible. So I will start from the bottom line here. So you can see we can create multiple use cases that includes doing the provisioning, configuration management, application deployment, continuous delivery, so on and so forth. So automating your enterprise, your infra, which is the including your Linux, OpenShift, Windows, so on and so forth, your networking device or your security cloud services or whatever you name it, right? So, so over here, the engine which I mentioned earlier, so it's written by Python code base. So don't worry about anything about Python. Just let you know that it's written by Python. That's all about, and its plugin or the plugin has been already built in. So it depends upon the way you write the playbook, it will call that particular plugin and execute for you. And it's built up with source of module library. So what Red Hat did it, they return and they make it available the Red Hat Enterprise version on top of this engine, which is the nice GUI screen. So one of the very basic feature is the role-based access control, which I mentioned earlier. You can create multiple teams, multiple templates, multiple projects, on so forth. And when you add that particular user, you can segregate each other's, right? And knowledge and visibility over here referring to the documentation. Everything has been readily available for you on Google search. Once you log into Ansible Tower, everything has been clearly written, easy to navigate. And whenever there is an issue, if you log any ticket, and Red Hat will reach out to you directly. So everything has been clearly documented. One of the key advantage here is the centralized, scheduled centralized job. What's that mean? Those technical people already know that in Linux we call this cron job and Windows called it scheduled task. Since we are talking about those mission critical production server here, and this has been always assigned at the middle of the night, it's those repetitive tasks we can easily schedule it and it will execute for on behalf of you, and it will show you whatever the status on the single screen, and you should be able to see whatever the outcome from that screen. So now I'm going to explain a little bit more in detail how it works. So the users have to write the playbook which contain the instructions, and they have to add inventory. Let me explain a little bit more in detail again. Taking a scenario again, your data center, 100 plus Windows machine, as a standard practice, each and every organization, whenever there is a patch update or deployment in your production server, no one directly deploy into your production server. Usually, as a standard practice, there should be a couple of testing server. So usually deploy that in your testing server one or two, make sure everything looks good, then only it will roll out to your production server. It's a standard practice. So over this scenario, in by using Ansible Tower, we can create two inventory, just everything predefined. First one called my testing inventory. The second one, you can call it my production inventory. So simply choose my testing inventory, select it, click the button. It will affect the deployment will affect only your testing inventory. Once everything look good and once you're comfortable, simply select your production inventory and click the button, and it will roll out all your production server. As simple as that. Modules, what's that mean? Each and every vendor. Let's take an example, for example, Cisco. Cisco has been shared their modules, the possibility of the instruction, whatever you're trying to achieve. For example, if you're trying to create a VLAN, it's a normal term within the networking device. So that particular module, simply call that name within your playbook and give the instruction, and it will go and execute for you. So each and every vendor, whatever you name it, for example, Microsoft Azure have their own 100 plus module. From the scenario for networking device, Palo Alto or Cisco, they have been shared so much of module, and it's readily available within the Ansible website itself. The plugin referring to when you write the code, and it will add, include those particular plugin and execute on behalf of you. And you should be able to connect through API as well. So this way you should be able to manage your remote host or your networking device. So that's the way it works. With the Ansible, you can create or 1200 plus integration. The one you see in blue color, Ingram already did the integration and it's readily available for you for the demo later. So by saying that one, you should be able to, do the integration, whether it's from cloud, virtual container, Windows, network, depends upon each and every customer scenario. So you can try to identify your vendor name, the product name, and look for the certified module available within the list. Later, I will show you what exactly that means. Now, coming back to a scenario, try to visualize you have a data centers again, a same scenario which I keep repeating again. So assuming you have 100 servers, and you are trying to do the security patch update for those Windows servers, which is the repetitive task. And assuming that change management already given you the permission to do the update at middle of the night from midnight to 2 a.m. 2 hour window. So everything has been set, the stage is ready, and the engineer is awake and ready to do the deployment at middle of the night. So each those, as a standard practice, the engineer usually have to go through some kind of prerequisite, right? Uh, you aware that one each and every data center production server always monitored by some kind of a monitoring tool. It's a standard practice. So before he bring down one of the Windows machine, he may have to stop the monitoring. The reason why, if he didn't stop the monitoring, it will send an email alert to too many people, and too many people unnecessarily awake, and they will get panic unnecessarily. So to avoid that one, you have to stop the monitoring. If there is any load balancer, he may have to remove that one. The reason why, load balancer always send the traffic to your first data center. If anything goes wrong, it will automatically divert into your second data center. So if there is any load balancer, have to remove that as well. So once you remote desktop RDP to your Windows server, there may be many services up and running. So he have to stop one by one all the services. And I hear many times, many of the organization, they take a snapshot or backup before they touch their production server. The reason why, anything goes wrong, they can simply roll back. So save the time. Assuming he did all the prerequisite and he did the patch update and everything went smoothly. And once he finished, he had to bring back all the monitoring or the load balancer and Windows servers, so on and so forth. Assuming the whole process took 10 minutes, depends upon how smart the engineer. Sometimes it may take 30 minutes, depends upon the engineer. So he have to repeat the same scenario for the next 99 servers. If we are doing a simple math, it will take 16 plus hour, which is, we can't not even think about it. That's the reason why everyone trying to make it automate their day-to-day tasks. So if the same scenario, if we are try to do the same scenario by using Ansible, we can write the playbook in advance, right? When the time came at the middle of the night, he can either click the button or he can even schedule it in advance. So this way, with the one single click, you should be able to automate your entire the repetitive task. So what we did here, we not only did the automation in a right fashion way, also we eliminate those unnecessary troubleshooting tasks, the requirement at middle of the night, right? So what customer expecting here? So the customer want a consistent and stable production environment. They don't want to spend unnecessarily and wasting time troubleshooting unnecessarily at middle of the night. So they prefer to have enjoy their life if something, if those their day-to-day tasks can be automated. So in order to get this kind of success criteria, what in with Ingram Micro, we do have many capabilities. That's including, we do have the success stories. I'm going to tell that right after this, and we carry most of the vendor brands. So whatever you name it, so most of them we carry it. So the one of the privilege what we have is we should be able to do the integration behalf of you before we touch your production server, right? So we do have the certified architects and engineers within our team, and we always align with the partners and end users. So we do carry most of the products, and I'm going to show you the demo right after this, right? And the Red Hat vision, they always follow the Red Hat ecosystem. So you're already aware that one Red Hat always, whenever somebody is there on behalf of Red Hat to do their task, they are more than happy to welcome as long as we meet the right way and deliver the right way or the necessary requirement from the each and every partner. One of the main advantage what you will see, we since we are aligned with the vendors, we can talk to each and every vendor directly. For example, Cisco, if you have any Cisco related requirement, we always talk to those pre-sales team from each and every vendor, and we should be able to get back to you if there is any requirement. By saying that one, once you purchase the Ansible towers, you simply log a ticket, and the Red Hat already have the SLA together with each and every vendor. So they will come back to you within the SLA what has been signed by using, by purchasing the Ansible tower. So it's a right, the ecosystem that we are going to deliver to you. Now, coming back to the scenario, nowadays each and every organization may have different data center. It's not limited to one or two. It could be most of the time it's on premises. And nowadays, cloud also getting more and more popular, and most of the organization may have different devices or virtual machines or different components on the public cloud. That's including Microsoft Azure, Amazon, so on and so forth. So in order to manage this big environment, there will be a question whether Ansible should be able to manage everything from a central location. The answer for that question is, the answer is yes. The first success story going to explain that in detail, what exactly we achieve that one. The first success story is the one of the management university. They are based in France. If you notice on the screen, you can see they do have a mix of Windows machine, Linux machine, networking device is 400 plus devices. They have a second data center based here in Singapore. They do have around 70 plus devices. That's mix of Windows, Linux, networking device. Third one was there in Abu Dhabi. On top of that, they do carry two public cloud as well, so many components running on their public cloud. So when this management university come to us, and one of the first requirement what they ask for, central management. What's that mean? They want to manage all the component, everything. Doesn't matter which data center, which location. They want to manage everything from France. First requirement. Second requirement, from France itself, it doesn't matter whether it's a Windows, Linux, networking device, storage, whatever you name it, they want to manage everything from a single tool. So since we identify the requirement, we walk into their on-premises and try to talk to those decision makers. So IT architect, he specifically mentioned their standard practice. They always do the search online, even though they are using SCCM. So they do search, try to download it and install it on their testing server. Everything looks good, then only they will roll out to their production server. CIO mentioned if Ansible can manage everything from a central tool by using one central tool, they are ready to accept that one. System admin, they welcome it because they already mentioned that during the middle of the night, efficiency won't take place. So if Ansible can automate all the tasks what they are doing, they are happy to welcome for that one. System director clearly mentioned if as long as all the job can be done on timely manner, he is ready to welcome that particular product, which is the Ansible. So refreshing the same thing again. So the system admin, he want to do the search, download, install, reboot all his Windows machine, which is 500 plus. So usually they do the everything testing on their testing server. So when everything looks good, they will roll out to the production server. So they tell us the scenario, what exactly they want to say. So what I did, simply write symbol those four playbook and enable the binarum on their testing server. So when the demo time came, I just click the button and show them, hey, this is click 4 times, right? So show them, hey, this is single click, it's possible. So they like that one. So what I did on top of that, show them the workflow orchestration. What's that mean? We can put the condition over here. Since there are four different playbook, we can see with a single click, it will execute all the four playbook. The condition we will put, for example, the first search playbook, once it's success, then only it will jump to the second one, then second one success, then jump to the third one. So show them that workflow, and on top of that, explain them before they roll out to their production server. Even we can get the approval process from the management, right? So show them everything, and they like it the way they can automate their Windows servers. Second requirement, what they ask for something similar to this one. So this is a little bit in technical. Sorry about that. Any other people on the audience? So let me explain this one. So since they have many data center location, the engineer usually when they onboard work for early in the morning, usually they will be assigned to some of the tasks, the ticket actually. So they want to see something like simply they want on the screen, they simply select the name and the number of hours they are going to work for that particular ticket. For example, next 10 hours he's going to work for that particular ticket. So that particular admin will get admin privileges for the next 10 hours. So it will automatically will get it, and it will time out right after the number of hours he chose, for example 10 hours. So they want to see this kind of scenario. So we just recreated that one by using Ansible Tower. They like it again, so they give another two more scenarios, so show them everything in whatever the way they want, and finally they awarded the project. So what we did actually, instead of installing the Ansible Tower in single virtual machine, put it into separate three virtual machine. The reason why, it's kind of HA scenario, high availability. So in terms here, it's called multi-cluster environment. So it's all about any one of the virtual machine down, the other two will be taken care of. So this way, or it's always up and running. To manage the remote data center based in here in Singapore, what we did was spin up another virtual machine, and it's called isolated node. So this isolated node can talk to the Ansible Tower based in France, in other words, remote location, and should be able to see all the remote devices that's from Singapore from their screen, one single screen. They should be able to manage everything from that wonder screen. And for the public cloud, that's a separate integration, and that has been, so by this way they should be able to manage all the remote location plus all the different flavor of remote devices, that's including Windows, different flavor of Linux machine, and also a couple of the storage, everything from a central location. Now close to 2 years, and this one is up and running, and they are managing everything on a timely manner. Second success story, more or less similar. This is one of the global insurance company. You can see that they had around 25,000 virtual machines on their global data center all over the places. And you can see it's a mixture of Windows, Linux, networking device, so on and so forth. So the requirement, what they mention when they are trying to reach out to them, they mentioned they do have many abandoned machines, Windows machine. They never did the patch update so long. So they want to identify those machines so that they could, do all the critical patch update. Then we ask the questions, what exactly you mean by abandoned machine? So they are telling the story like, even though they are using SCCM to manage all their Windows machine, in their data center, too many engineers usually they when they try to spin up the virtual machine, Windows machine, sometimes they forget to join this to the domain. So SCCM, if it's never joined to the domain, it can't do the patch update, simple and straightforward, right? So they forgot that one, and there has been many servers never did the patch update. So what we did, luckily they have the Rapid 7 in their data center. So we trigger Rapid 7 by using Ansible Tower, and by using connecting through the REST API, and found out around 24,000 plus virtual machine on their, all the devices on their, all the data center. So written a small script and scanned their SCCM and found out a couple of around 24,520 IP address managed by their Windows machine. So we did the comparison and found that around 200 plus virtual machine, they never did the patch update very long. So give them all the IP address and given them all the playbook. So now one of the second customer, they are doing all their day-to-day life by using Ansible Tower. The third success story, what I want to go through with you is the networking device scenario. This is one of the exchange company based in China. They do have a data center here in Singapore. they had around 200 plus Juniper and Cisco networking device, and they have a standard practice. They called it security health and compliance check. So in order to do this, they shortlisted around 50 plus networking commands. So basically, they have to execute whatever the output they have. Based on the output, they have to look through the health of the devices. So they hired one junior engineer just to do the copy and paste. So the junior engineer copy one by one all the networking commands into the remote CLI window of the networking device. So one by one he have to copy and paste, and whatever the output he have to copy back into his Excel sheet. So usually he's spending like 10,000 times, copy and paste, and end of the month he have to submit all the output to the management. So it's kind of a repetitive task. So what we did, return two playbook, one for Cisco and one for Juniper. So then just click the button. It will go and execute all his 50 commands against all the 200 networking device. And whatever the output, it will write in a CSV file. So now what I have to do, simply click the button, take out the CSV file, open in Excel, his report is ready. So, another happy customer. Sorry about that. So I'm going to explain how all this work, taking as an example networking scenario. Like I mentioned earlier, Cisco have its own operating system. It's called iOS. You can see on the screen, there is a list of modules which is directly came from Cisco itself. They shared this module with Red Hat and make it available online. So if you look at those each and every line, you should be able to see. So those network engineers, they already know exactly what this mean. For example, from the bottom line, the top one, the third one is the iOS underscore VLAN. What's that mean? Once you call that particular module and write the instruction, you should be able to, with a click, you can create a virtual LAN. So like this, those modules, which is day-to-day used by network admin, you should be able to translate that into playbook, or you can make it use of the existing playbook and put it in your, integrate with your Ansible tower. So going forward, just click single button, you should be able to translate or automate your day-to-day work. Scenario for Juniper and Palo Alto. Juniper using the operating system called GenOS. Palo Alto have Pan OS. So whatever you name it, it's all those networking devices have its own operating system. So as long as each and every vendor share this module with Red Hat and it's make it available online, that's one called certified module, and you should be able to do the integration and to make do the once you do the integration, you are making life easy for those people who are taking care of your mission critical production server. The scenario for storage, for example, I'm taking NetApp as an example here. And to connect to NetApp, you can use the REST API. So what NetApp did, they shared more than 100 plus module online. You can see once you Google, you can see that one is readily available to make the life easier for those storage admin people. For the VMware, the scenario you can, no, let's take an example. Most of the organization nowadays may be using VMware, a tool like this. So, and there may be hundred or thousands of virtual machine running it. So, like I mentioned earlier, so most of the time, whenever there is a deployment or patch update or any changes on any virtual machine, the engineers may take a snapshot in advance. So anything goes wrong, they can simply roll back. So all this practice, actually, we can make it like an orchestration. So with a single click, we can do everything in an automated fashion way. So the normal manual scenario is like, in order to, if you want to take the snapshot, log into VMware, right mouse button click on the snapshot, wait for a couple of seconds, and once it's updated, that may take 1 or 2 minutes, 3 minutes like that. So if you are doing that one for 100 machine, it will take that number of times. So you can automate the entire process with a single click by using Ansible Tower, right? Whether it's a power on, power off, reboot, so on and so forth. Windows hardening, we do have the PowerShell script to do the hardening. To meet the CS standard, everyone aware that one is 916 pages. So if someone doing manually, it will take week to complete in each and every server. So the scenario for multiple server, it's consume a lot of time. So we can trigger that one by using Ansible Tower with a single click. So you can go and do a Google search Ansible module index. That one land you to this page, which is the module index, which is the one of the main category. So once you click any one of the category, it will take you to the list of the vendor. For example, if you click on the network module, it will take you to the major brand names and those vendors. Whatever the module listed there, you should be able to see. So depends upon customer or partner requirement, you can do the search and make sure there is a listed module available there, right? Role-based access control, which I mentioned earlier, since this is one of the feature within the Ansible Tower itself. So once you create the user, you should be able to assign that particular user to different teams, different projects, different templates, so on and so forth. You can make it use of it. Finally, I just want to do quick comparison with the Chef, Puppet, and SaltStop. Chef, you may aware that when it's a Ruby based and it may have the clients, and you need a developer to manage Chef. Mainly, it's for used for configuration and it's mainly server focused. For the Ansible, it doesn't anyone from IT, they should be able to manage this one. Doesn't require any special skills for that one, and it's agentless. So it can do much more like configuration, deployment, and orchestration, so on and so forth. And you can take care of your network, servers, cloud, etc. Puppet is still it's Ruby based, and is you need a specialized SSL certificate to manage that one, and you require deep learning curve. This one also main focused on configuration and server focused, but Ansible is much far away. It's agentless. Anyone from IT can do, and you can do much more like configuration, deployment, orchestration, so on and so forth. And finally, SaltStack. So SaltStack is a smaller organization. So when we do a comparison with the Ansible, you can do much more. And finally, just want to show you, this is the lab which I'm going to show you the demo. If you notice on the screen, the nice logos, what you see on the screen. So, we do have the integration with the VMware, Red Hat, Palo Alto, IBM, Cisco, whatever you name it on the screen. So we should be able to see that one right after this. So what I'm going to now switch my presentation mode and going to show my screen. I assume you should be able to see my browser. What I'm going to do, login. Ajay, can you confirm that you should be able to see it, my browser?
Yeah, I can see it, Chandra. I can see it. Yeah,
Okay, thank you for confirming that.
all
Okay, so what you see, once I log into Ansible Tower, you should be able to see this nice graph logo, the dashboard summary. Like I do have 10 hosts, one file host, couple of inventories, or a couple of projects, so on and so forth. One of the main page, one of the requirement is the template, right? So over here, what you see a couple of the template name here. I named it Azure, Cisco, Juniper. What's that mean? Then in my previous slide, I mentioned I do have the integration with the Microsoft Azure, integration with the Cisco, Juniper, Linux, NetApp, Palo Alto. Let me click the second button here. IBM Curador, VMware, Windows, so on and so forth. So I'm coming back to this screen, and what I want to show you here. So what you see from the Azure, you see only two template here. I didn't put much more. The reason why, and let me explain why. I'm going to take another tab. Earlier I mentioned we can do the Google search Ansible module index, and it will take you to this link. I'm going to click this link. Let me walk through this one here. So over here, you can see main category here. Let me click on the first one is the cloud module. So what you see on the screen, Ali Cloud, Amazon. So let me take to Azure, Microsoft, Azure, the 100 plus module from Amazon, and Azure also have close to 100 plus. So each and every module represent one use cases. Actually, this one I can, this 100 modules I can put it. I mean, I can do the integration here. I don't want to do this. The reason why, it will be there is no point of for me to put all the 100 modules here. Instead, what I want, I just shortlisted one of them. For example, the common use cases of what we use is the spin up or create a virtual machine. So I took that one and create that one. So this way, I just want to show you that hey, I should be able to create more use cases. Depends upon customer scenario. I am capable of doing that one. So that's the message I want to pass to you. So I did over here only two of them, and it's you can see on the screen. So to do the demo purpose, the way I want to walk through with you, take an example, Cisco IOS ping. Okay, so what I'm going to do, if I click this button, it will go and do a ping to my remote devices. What ping means, those technical people already know that, on my remote server, I just want to make sure my remote device is up and running, right? So the green color, what you see is the status of the, each time when I click this button, it will turn on one green box for me. In other words, this is the status of the previous which I did it, and it's everything looks good. When you see green color, if you see anything like red color, what's that mean? It get failed during that time. Then subsequently I fix that one and it's turned to green. So you should be able to see all the previously run 10 tasks on this one screen, right? So a couple of the buttons here, if I click this button, it will go and execute for you. It will duplicate for you this template and you can easily delete it. So over here, ping, what's ping means, usually the standard practice we do in a command line, ping my remote IP. So if it's the remote IP, if it's up and running, it will show you the reply, hey, my remote device is up and running, so on and so forth. Usually that one called in technical term ICMP ping. This ping is slightly different. If I click this button, it will go and authenticate. In other words, we have to put username and password. So it will go and authenticate my remote Cisco device. If it's up and running, it will show you on the screen successful. Plus, it will turn to green color. So you can see it's showing me success. And I put this in a debug mode so that you will see what's happening, how it's connecting, so on and so forth. So everything on the screen, and it show me in green colors. What's that mean? My remote server is up and running, and this is my IP address, and I should be able to execute any commands right now, right? So quite simple, and anyone can do this. So coming back here again on the template, so you can see couple of those use cases scenario based on Cisco you see here. What I want to walk through with you a simple use case scenario. For example, if I type a show version command in my CLI command line window of the Cisco, it will show me the version. Take a scenario, the one of you or as a manager walking to your engineer and asking engineer, hey, in my data center, in our data center, there is 100 plus Cisco devices. I want to know all the version currently running within that 100 devices. Give me the result within 30 minutes. The engineer will get panic a little bit. He have to remote connectly one by one SSH and just simply issue the show version command, and he have to copy back in his Excel file 100 times, right? It takes some time, it will time consuming effort. But over here, if I click this button, it already have the show version command. Everything has been pre-built. It will go and execute on your remote, whether it's 100 devices or 1000 devices. One click, it will go and execute, and it will show you on the screen all the 100 device. Or even you can automatically write in a CSV file. So click the button and it will show you the results in a single click, everything for you, right? So What I did, instead of clicking the play button, I clicked the one of the green button, because I had run it previously. So you could see that one, this particular Cisco device is running this particular version. So what you see on the screen, C2960, so on and so forth. So those technical people, those networking people already know what exactly that means. So we try to identify this kind of use case scenario with each and every customer requirement, and we translate that into a template. So going forward, what they have to do, simply either click this button or they can schedule it. So make the life easier for those guys, right? So even though I do have many integration here, I'm not going through everything in detail. Instead, I am directly jumping into the scenario for Windows, which I mentioned earlier, one of the success stories there, right? So if you notice, I have the use cases here. For example, if I click this button, it will go and search for my latest and greatest patch from Microsoft, and it will return right in a CSV file in my one of the Windows machines. So just click this one. That's it. You will get the result. If I click this button, it will go and download it for you, all the patches. So, and if I click this button, one of this, it will go and install for you. Doesn't matter whether it's 100 server or 1000, one click, it can be done. So the scenario, what I want to show you here, instead of clicking 4 times, I'm going to click this workflow orchestration. So all the 4 playbook, it's going to run in one shot. If you notice over here, you see red color here, right? I make it failure download. So the scenario, what I want to show you, I'm going to click here, and what you see on the screen, you can see it's up and running, and there are 4 boxes here. So the condition, what I put here, if it's success, then only jump into the second one. If it's success, jump into the third one. So over here, the download, the expectation here, yeah, you can see this one blinking right now. This one turned to green. So this one success, jump into the second one. Now it's blinking, and it will jump to the third one. Over here, the download, since it's going to fail, it should turn to red color and it will come out from this screen, right? So it's the status still showing it's up and running. Yeah, it became success and it's jumping to the third one. And it should tend to red, give a couple of seconds. The download should fail. It's keep blinking. Yeah, it's turned red and it's failed and come out for that one. So we can create this kind of organization, the X number of playbook. This earlier, one of the scenario which I mentioned, let's say if you have VMware, and assuming you are doing this patch update within that 100 plus virtual machine, even we can do the patch update plus even take the snapshot, even you can reboot it. We can put all the condition and we can do the orchestration, right? Now, when we install the Ansible tower, there are a couple of one-time configuration which we have to do. For example, we have to simply click this button and create one organization, whatever you name it. And you can create multiple teams. You can see purposefully demo purpose. I did this way: Linux team, networking team, storage team, so on and so forth. And we can create a couple of users. So when you create, sorry, let me click the users here. So when we create the user, we can assign that particular user to either different teams, different inventory projects, so on and so forth. So let me click on the inventory. So over here, if you notice, I create multiple inventory. The scenario, one of them I was mentioning about the inventory, my Windows testing inventory and my production inventory, right? So this way, we just later when you choose the template, simply select this one. I'm going to show you right after this. So before that, one more, which is the projects. Where is my project? Okay. So you have to create a one-time project so that you know which project you are running through. So within the project, when you create the project, you can make the decision whether your playbook can be on your local machine or on your remote location like GitHub, so on and so forth. You have to create one time your credential. So once you set up everything, finally you will land into this template page. Again, I'm going to click this button here, one of the template. So when we try to create the template, simply give a name here and you can choose as a run. And once you click this button, you should be able to choose your inventory, which is previously created here. So simply select your project by clicking this button. Once you select this playbook, this is the main component. Playbook will automatically appear here, based on your naming convention. And choose your credential. Once you set up everything, just simply click this button and it will execute for you. Or if those repetitive tasks, you can even schedule it. Just simply select it and simply click this button, and you should be able to just schedule it in advance, right? So, or one-time configuration. So you should be able to manage your playbook based on the customer scenario day-to-day basis. So make the life easier for the whole team. Okay, so this is my end of the presentation. I'm ready to take any questions right now. If you have any questions, okay, type in your chat. Okay, looks like no question. Ajay, back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Chandra. Thanks everyone for attending. A couple of follow-up steps from the webinar. What we can also do is we can conduct a demo for your end users if they're interested. So what I suggest is in case you have one or two customers who want to have a demo, you could reach out to the Ingram Red Hat team.
Ajay, your
Yeah.
voice is breaking. Voice is breaking.
I think I'm obviously the mic. Can you hear me too? Hello? Hello?
Yeah. Okay, maybe
Is
you
it
can
all?
continue. It's not very clear, but you can continue. It's okay. Yeah.
Sorry. So what we suggest is in case you want demos for end users, please reach out to the Ingram Red Hat team myself and Prasad, and we can organize a similar demo for end customers depending on the use case. So thanks for attending once again, and we value your feedback and suggestions. Thank you.
Okay, maybe I will walk through again. So thank you everyone for joining. So if you have any questions or anything, you can feel free to reach out to Ajay. So yeah, so we are ready to answer for you, and thank you for joining. Yeah, so this is the end of the webinar, everyone. Thank you.